Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening, what I personally expect moving forward and all of that good stuff. Pretty big week, of course. We have rate cuts coming, or potentially, or most likely rate cuts coming on Wednesday. So yeah, let's just go over it. I'll give you my thoughts moving into the rest of the week, potentially the rest of the month. And yeah, let's talk about it. So as usual, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my YouTube membership is live on YouTube, obviously, down below in the description. The link is there if you want to join. I really appreciate it. We have like almost 400 members now, so that's pretty damn sweet. Very nice to have a lot of people here. But essentially, I share my intraday thoughts, updates, posts, etc. on Tesla and sometimes the broader market every single day in this membership section for just $3 a month. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that. So Tesla plus broader market stuff and NVIDIA daily updates as well. So if you're interested, link is below. $3 or $5 are the two options. But jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day down about 2% on the day, closing just shy, we'll say, of $117 per share, which compared to the market is a little bit of an underperformance. NVIDIA had a bit of a gap down this morning, which is why it has this little bit of a weaker performance overall. But in my opinion, it actually held up relatively well, all things considered. So let's talk about it and let's go over the daily chart first. The daily chart, in my opinion, honestly, NVIDIA just feels like a daily chart type of stock. Like the 1 hour is great. Don't get me wrong. I think the 1 hour is great. It's easily one of my favorite time frames as well. But this something about NVIDIA to me just feels like a daily chart stock. Like it really just feels just like all you need is a daily chart on this thing, man. You're good to go. But so let's go over that. That's the most important one. Like I said on, what is it, Friday, right? We had that little bit of a doji candle, right? A little bit of indecision. And what I personally would expect rather, and this is what I told my members on Friday. Let me scroll down. A lot of posts today, actually. Where was it? I think over here. Yeah, I think this one. Oh, blah, 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 no, that's right. Small pullback to retest the 21 EMA into move higher is my current base projection, right? Currently expecting a small pullback across the board early next week, 3 days ago, right? Which was like, what, Saturday or something? Friday, Saturday, which is what I told my members. And that's exactly what we got on NVIDIA, right? You know, we came down right into the 21 EMA on NVIDIA. And the point is, the important thing is we held, right? And this is why daily candles are important. I mentioned this in the Tesla video. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. But this is why daily closure candles are pretty damn important before you make any rash decisions, right? Because for instance, right, you know, if you, let's say NVIDIA came down to, you know, the 21 EMA 116, for example, and you bought there, but then it came all the way down even lower to like close to 113. You're like, wow, that's not good. I want to sell. It's below the 21 EMA. That's not good. And then it just went back up over it, right? This is intraday, of course. And this is why, you know, daily closures are important. For instance, if we closed the daily candle, you know, let's say at, you know, 114 or even lower, yeah, okay, that's a sign of concern. You know, maybe you take the L. Granted, it will be a bit of a bigger L as opposed to if you cut, let's say at 15 and a half, just below the 21 EMA, but there's also a chance that something like this happens where it just comes back up and holds above it and ultimately closes above the 21 EMA, right? That's why it's just general, I guess, lesson, if that makes sense, right? Daily closures and just candle closures are usually very important because there's a lot of, you know, things that happen intraday that, you know, are just made to mess with you, really. But anyway, you get the point. The point I'm trying to make here, though, regardless, is the fact that, you know, we topped out around 120. We mentioned that that's going to be the major resistance level. It came right back to the 21 EMA. And I've mentioned many times the 21 EMA, pretty damn important for NVIDIA, right? This thing holds up pretty damn well for the stock, right? If it's above, it's bullish. If it's below, it's bearish. It's sometimes really just that simple. And I like that NVIDIA respects the 21 EMA quite a lot because not every stock does. Like, for instance, if you know, look at Tesla, not really, right? It's just kind of going up and down, below it, above it, but it's just, you know, whatever. It feels like it doesn't even care about the 21 EMA, right? So it doesn't work on every single stock, in my opinion. But NVIDIA, thankfully, seems to be pretty damn good at it. Pretty respectable of the 21 EMA. Now, we held it. We came down, we held it, we closed above it, and that's great. I want to continue doing that. The point, the main thing I'll be looking at for this week is, can we continue closing and holding daily candles above that 21 EMA, which is essentially around 115 and a half right now, right? Can we consistently keep turning it into that support? Remember, I kept saying that on Friday and Thursday. I want to see continued support around that 21 EMA. I want to see it being solidified as a support. And if that can happen, I think NVIDIA will move higher. So let's give you my projections, right? Where I personally think NVIDIA can move based on whether or not it can hold the 21 EMA. Let's assume it does. Let's assume it holds the 21 EMA. It doesn't close below it, and it keeps holding it, keeps respecting it, and now it's officially a support for another day or two, let's say. Bam. I think we at least, I'd be surprised if we don't see at least 123, if not closer to the top of this trend line, right? If I zoom out, you can see this overall trend line. I actually might have to redo this green line. I'm not really sure if I like it like this, I'll be honest, because we bounced from here and we didn't even come down to the green trend line. So I might have to redo this green trend line. It actually might look something more like this, to be completely honest with you, right? This actually might be a little bit of a closer perspective of what it should look like. But nonetheless, I think we'll come up to the bottom, top of this trend line, right? This little zigzag that we're in right now. Keep in mind, NVIDIA is making higher lows, lower highs, right? We came up to all-time highs, came all the way down here, and now we've been pretty much setting a lower high, higher low, right? So if we come up to this, trend line once again, or let's say around 126, which I think is a very real possibility over the next, couple of weeks, that will be another lower high. There's a chance that we reject from here and we ultimately come back down once again to about 108, set up a nice higher low. And there is a chance that NVIDIA just does this for a while until it ultimately picks a direction, right? Ultimately, it'll pick a direction. And the way you look at it based on if it actually picked a direction is one, I mean, you can play with the trend lines. If it finally closes daily candles above or below one of these trend lines, well, it probably picked that direction. Or an even safer option would be to break above the previous most recent either higher low or lower high. For instance, if NVIDIA can break above the recent higher low or a lower high that we had, which was up here pretty much around 130, if NVIDIA can break above 130, well, congratulations, you just broke the previous lower high. That is a change of character, and that is officially a bullish trend reversal. Congratulations. The stock has picked a direction. And the flip side is also true. If NVIDIA closes, let's say, below 103 to about $100 per share, a daily candle, that'll be below this recent higher low. Also a change of character, unfortunately, to the bearish side, and then most likely will continue lower to probably around $80 per share, right? That's just kind of what I'm personally expecting and foreseeing right now, right? And that's just really the perspective, right? Again, above 21 EMA, I honestly think at least 123, if not probably closer to 126. Below the 21 EMA, if we start losing it, at least 110 to 108, if not to the bottom of this trend line once again, closer to 104, we'll say, for a fresh higher low. And that's just the main thing I'll be looking at right now. I personally don't think we'll come down to set up that new higher low. I think personally right now that there's a higher chance we actually move up to this trend line versus moving down to this trend line. If I had to take a guess, I think it's a higher chance we do that because again, we're holding above the 21 EMA and we are so far turning it into a support. Obviously that changes if we start closing daily candles below it, but because we're not, and because honestly, most indicators on the daily chart for NVIDIA still look pretty solid, I think there's a higher chance to move up to 125, 126, or at least 123, then we go down, then if us going down to, again, 110 or even closer to 104. So let's get into the indicators. Indicators, right? MACD, bullish, fresh higher high, looking pretty solid. Nothing really to complain about there. NVIDIA actually does respect the MACD decently well. So usually when it does cross bullish or bearish, it does actually respect it pretty well. Similar to the 21 EMA. That's what I love about the stock. I actually really like the stock for that. It respects these trend lines. It respects these indicators pretty impressively, right? Compared to something like Tesla that, for instance, it sometimes just doesn't really care. Like for instance, on Tesla, if you go all the way over here, you can see it just crosses up and down, left and right. It just, whatever. It doesn't really care too much, right? Makes it a little bit more challenging. You have to use other methods, if you will. But NVIDIA seems to be a little bit more, to the point, which I like, right? If it's crossed the bullish to MACD, there's a good chance it respects it and vice versa. Moving along, RSI still bullish, right? Obviously it's pointing straight down, but it's above the median line. And honestly, it's still looking pretty solid. Stochastic still pointing straight up, still bullish, right? Remember when I was saying it was pointing straight down and we kept going straight down? Well, the opposite is true too. It's pointing straight up. So as far as I'm concerned, it's most likely going to continue trending upwards, even after today's red day. And on top of that, we have the BX trender, green bands, still below the halfway point. So if it can even get above the halfway point, I think that'll even be better for NVIDIA to potentially go up to, 125-ish, 126, but also setting higher highs. So essentially, if tomorrow's a nice green day, that'll probably continue the trend of setting higher highs. So that's kind of the main perspective on NVIDIA, right? The indicators on the daily are still looking pretty damn solid. Now let's go to the 1 hour chart really quickly here. Take away the 21 EMA for now. And you can see the same indicators, right? On the 1 hour, you could be making a bit of a bull flag. I'll actually go over one thing that can happen tomorrow. But, we are arguably making a little bit of a bull flag here. So that's a, nice little thing to see, right? It can look something like this, right? Something like this, you can argue. That's the kind of the bull flag. Boom, right? You can make an argument that this is roughly what it's going to be looking like. So that's a perspective to look at. But you can see on the 1 hour chart, the stochastic, nice little crossover to the bullish side right in the last hour. I'd like to see that, right? MACD obviously is still a little bit bearish, but again, MACD in the 1 hour chart, don't really care too much. It's too many false signals. MACD is only good on the higher time frames, in my opinion. RSI, which I have now an aggressive RSI, oversold recently today, and it bounced from it and looking pretty solid. Just needs one extra push, gets above the median line. I think it's looking pretty good. BX Trender set of the first higher low on the 1 hour, and the band has officially turned slightly green. So even the 1 hour is starting to show some signs of potentially flipping back to bullish, which of course will translate into the daily, which of course will, in my opinion, bring NVIDIA even higher. That's just my perspective. That's how I'm looking at it, and that's just my observation. This is just how I trade. These are my indicators. I could be completely wrong. Could be full of you know the word. And yeah, so again, just my perspective. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing moving forward. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. I don't know what the hell this line is. Oh yeah, that was the one that we broke out of. Oops, that's not the one I want to remove. This is the one I want to remove. Anyway, I think there was something else I want to. Oh yeah, right. So there is a chance that we do get a bit of a drop tomorrow, right? Tomorrow or Wednesday, and the reason for that is because of this, right? So we had that nice little rally from $100 per share all the way to 120. And now we're chilling around 116, we'll say. The first Fibonacci retracement, assuming we get a decent retracement from here, which we got pretty damn close to, is the 382 Fibonacci, which is sitting at about, we'll say 113 and 1/4, right? So 113.25, we'll say, give or take, right? There's a chance that we do actually flush a little bit lower down to that Fibonacci, again, closer to 113. We got pretty close today, but pretty much $1 lower than today. But we end up bouncing off of that and closing back above the 201 EMA. If we can do that, and if we can go back down to 113, bounce off the 382, and still close that same daily candle above the 21 EMA, that'll be pretty damn bullish in my opinion. And I think that will actually give me a lot more confidence that NVIDIA is probably heading even higher, seeing such a bear trap. I thought I'd mention that there is a potential that can happen today or tomorrow or Wednesday. So just keep that in mind. Just as a potential opportunity. But as long as we ultimately continue holding above the 201 EMA, hold daily candles above it, I think it's pretty damn bullish, and I think we're good to go. In terms of options flow, right? NVIDIA really nowhere to be found, right? For the most part, not even. I hear a little bit of a bullet 4 million confirmed bullish flow, nothing to really write home about. Even options flow is a little bit slower for NVIDIA, at least, right? NVIDIA usually is pretty damn crazy with options flow. Very slow today. Not really seeing any massive bears or bulls, really. Very slow day for options across the board. But it is what it is. Sometimes it just be like that. I think people are just waiting for Wednesday, which is where we, are potentially getting that first rate cut. 25, 50, 75 basis points. Who knows? But all in all, that's what I'm seeing moving forward. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.